What up? What up? Bankroll 10, bet it up. Bet it up, bet it up. Illinois, y'all. We got the 85 Landau up on the lift. Getting ready to put these 28's on it. Getting ready to get this whole suspension knocked out of it. Scrap, 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 scrap. Steering arm, scrap. We got all the new stuff. We got the QA1 uppers, the QA1 lowers. We got the Viking coilovers. We have the Pro Forged inner and outer tie rod, center link idler. We have some D52 Willwood brakes to go on these calipers, or to go on these spindles. The calipers to go on these spindles. Backing plates. Trash. Yeah, all the parts for this thing are in the house garage up there. We got frame bracing going in. We got a chassis frame brace kit going in. The exhaust was put on. I don't know why the exhaust was put on. And it's horrible, but I'm gonna cut it off because I gotta do the trans cross member part of the frame bracing kit. I don't like this relay and this regulator being underneath here. I gotta be somewhere in here, and then of course to the back here. So I'll have to move the relay. Probably just move the relay up. I don't know, somewhere in here. But yeah, motor was just put in it, this and that. I put those on it in order to set the rear end up. We got a 9-inch, we got a chassis Outlaw 9-inch going in it. The 7.5 is coming out. Junk. The tailpipes are totally in the way for the coilovers and the cross brace and anti-roll. Actually, I think we do have an undermount anti-roll for this. So the covers, where these go. So most likely the mufflers are just, I'm just gonna cut it off because all that shit's in the way. But yeah. Car is very, very, very clean. You guys can see that. Very solid car. Came from Mr. 75. This guy bought it from him. So, anyways, you know, he'd be finding them clean ass cars, so. Alright, y'all. We'll get these wheels and everything off. Get these wheels and everything off. Of course, getting the front frame notch for full turn. Trim up the wheel well. But I think I want to put a panel in there. Let's see how good I can trim it up first. See if I can flatten that piece out. But then again, I got some metal in the corner right there. I could probably make 2 pieces to go up in there. You know, this side sucks because of the e-brake cable. Gotta get the e-brake cable out of there. But I'll trim it up and then maybe make a piece of that and curve it. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how. Still got the original plastics in here. Of course, that's got to go bye-bye. Yeah, all right. We gonna get on it. We gonna get cracking on it. All right, y'all. I'll be back with some more. What up, y'all? I'm back on it. Got the sway bar off of there. Put it in the scrap. All the steering components are off of there. In the scrap. These backing plates. In the scrap. Hey y'all, look. Man, the stress on that hose. Good thing we ain't using that shit. Look at this side, y'all. That is a big ass outwards dent from a chain or frame straightening or something, but this is a big ass dent too. I didn't notice this shit before. This is damn near split right here. So I'm gonna have to straighten all that out, which anyways is getting cut out. But I hate this shit being all dented because of how I notched the frames. But anyways, I'll deal with it. But yeah, so big springs. Front end was sitting real tall. Taking that shit apart, crazy. If you're using coilovers, you don't need to save those. Heat them with a torch. If you don't have a big torch, like those, you can use a little propane torch. A little blue one. What is it? The yellow is the hottest of those, but I mean, that'll still work. So if you have the car on the ground or whatever, when you heat this side, you can see those are all heat marks. When you heat this side, it collapses this side because this twists. So you just go down them and heat them. Then you can go back over here and heat them. Take the shock out. I've never had a shock blow up, but take the shock out before you start doing that. But yeah, that'll relieve the pressure off the springs. That way you can get it out easier without the car jumping off the jack or whatever. Heat that shit up. Take the tension off there. That way when you pull it apart, it ain't gonna pop on you. But yeah. All the wheels are off. All this exhaust, I don't know why they kept it, because, you know, the cross brake's gotta go across there. So that shit's gotta come off there. The way the undermount anti-roll goes to there, that shit's in the way. So, all this underneath here is just, it's all in the way. It's in the way of the frame bracing, it's in the way. So all that shit's coming off. I'll probably take the mufflers, and which they're too small anyways. There's like 2 1/4. They're small, but once I do the frame brace and the trans cross member mount setup, I'll probably just leave enough right there a little bit to be able to tack these mufflers back on. So then it can go get the real exhaust put on it. This shit's too small. Guns out the back. I don't know. But it's all in the way. So gotta come off. Too small. It's all patched together. I don't like it. Alright, y'all. Still moving on this thing with this front the rest of the way apart. Like I was saying, these calipers that are going on the front of this are D52, so they bolt right on with the stock ends, or, you know, so none of this has to be cut off, but I'm still going to take these off, clean them up, because I got to take all that shit off anyways. Clean it all up, clean the frame up. It's all going in the screw zap. Screw zap. Screw zap. Alright, y'all, I'm back on it. Back on it. Get some more done. Lift that up. Alright, alright. The little propane torch was taking too long. I busted out the big torches. Oh yeah. Heated them up, cut a couple coils right there, so now it'll pop apart. That was a big ass spring. You know, some big ass shocks. Like, I never seen a shock. Let's think about this, y'all. Look how long that shock is in the front of here. That shock must have been pushed all the way up to the top to where there was absolutely no stroke. So it was doing absolutely nothing. Think about it. The distance out here compared to the distance in there, this barely moves in here compared to this moving way more. So that was hilarious to pull that out. What was even more hilarious is that when I went on this side, when I went on the top to get the bolt, I felt up in there and there was absolutely no nut, no rubber, no top washer, nothing was on this side, which I'm pretty sure was that side, or whatever. But it wasn't even bolted in, it was just bolted in the bottom, but it was doing absolutely nothing. And the upper control arm was completely locked on the frame. Look, there's no ball joint spacer. This original ball joint. So like, And you seen how cambered it was when well, I think there's a shorts video of it showing how cambered it was when you back it in here. All the steering components were stock. But anyways, I went ahead and just cut through it because yeah, I got a burn out of it too. Whatever. But now I can get these spindles off and get the control arms off. But yeah, that's funny. That is so damn long. It shouldn't have been there. So I don't know how long this car was put together like that. I know the front. Everyone knows the front of this car sat up high as hell. And them big ass springs are real big. So I still don't know if there's a cup. Yeah, there's a cup in there. There's a cup in there. We still got a lot of heat coming off that. Yep. All right, y'all. I'll get back on it. Let that up. Be right back. Back on it. Back on it. Bet it up. Dirty ass job. Dirty. Anyways. Full front suspension is torn out of it. Cleaning up the frame. Rails. The metal piece right there. I'm gonna trim it to go back in there. I'm gonna tack it all in. Probably 40 well right there. But I'm gonna put that piece back in once the frame notch is done, and then I'll trim it to fit, you know, probably like a 1/2 inch gap through here. But I'll put that main piece that I'll flex this in. I'll straighten that out a little bit because of how the e-brake went through there. Yeah. I got a lot more cleaning to do. I got some Zep type of cleaner in here that's spraying on there, but I haven't even hit this side with a grinder yet. Got these panels, the little plastic panels in the front, you gotta get rid of them. This is that little 10 mil right here. Let's see if I can get it here. This 10 mil bolt, take it out. Then all you gotta do is undo the brace from here, loosen it up, spray it, put a wire brush to it, whatever. Loosen it up and then just space it. Put a spacer to the how the, I forget how I did it. Oh yeah, it's on top. So you put a spacer in here which pushes the fender down just a little bit and out a little bit, and then of course you have to take this screw, move the screw up, which is how to tap in up there, and just clean this up to where you get all the way out to this edge and make it look like it was stock. Then when you degree the spindles, you shim it more back, give you the sports steering, be able to clear this. A lot of these raffle cars you guys are seeing right here, they're pulling the fender so much that they're bending the fender and they're making it flare outward so it looks real goofy. And you know, they're kind of trying to keep it as low as possible, but with 28s you end up rubbing here anyways, so a little bit more height, degree the spindles, take your time with the fenders. But if you do not pull out this 10 mil right here, there's a 10 mil bolt that goes right there. If you do not pull that out, you will flex the fender right in this area. It'll bend. So take your time and bolt 2 seconds to get it out. Then you can flex just a little bit. But of course you gotta, if your braces have never been messed with, is a plus. Unbolt it, put a space in between there, bolt it back up, and you'll be able to, just don't bend this fender. Put the space in there and then pull it a little bit and you'll get this to flex out, and then a little bit of trimming to the back, you'll get it to clear. You'll get it to clear. Sometimes this light sucks because of how the light bulb goes in there, how it locks in. It wants to hit this bottom bolt right here. You're gonna have to trim this corner, you'll have to trim. Just trim, not no big ass cuts. All right, so this side, got the piece cut out right here. I had to straighten out this right here because it was, you know, tow hook or it had this whole area pulled out. But you can see, squared it off, drew my lines on it, cut it out, cut this a little farther, flex that in, flex that in. Now I'm gonna cut what I want off the bottom, cut what I want off the top, curve it with the grinder, curve it. And I mean, you don't need much for a 28 on a box Chevy, but when it's done, besides that being beat up right there, it's gonna look like stock. And I'll put a plate over this end and a plate over this end, just like I do the G bodies. So let's say this is only 1/8 inch, but it's gonna calf over it, so that gives it more structure. But I'm not gonna use these. I was just showing these as an example. So I got 2 of those, but I have. Well, this is about 1/8 inch. Got 3/16 somewhere right here. Oh yeah, right here. This is 3/16 by 3, so that'll be fine. This should be enough to do both sides. Buy this at like Farm and Fleet, Menards, shit like that. Doesn't matter cold or hot rolled. If they got blue on, it's cold. Got hot red on it, it's hot rolled. It doesn't matter with this shit. Hitting it with the wire welder. This rear end coming out. Exhaust getting cut off. Boom. Gonna clean up these, which this car is very clean. You know, that's just straight up. Look at my finger is just taking it right down to. Little light grinding back there. Boom. This corner, just roll it over just a little bit. Like I said, this is a 28 by 10, 11 overall, 7-inch lip. Don't have to notch the frame for it. Obviously, this is in the way. Obviously, the curves are all in the way. The frame brace and the muffler's in the way. I know I've said this a couple times already, but this drum that was on this side was the original drum. It had the clips still holding this on. So this car, I don't know what it has on the dash for miles, but it is a very clean car. And as you can see behind this, obviously the original color, you can see how shiny it is there. A little undercoating on that one. I'll tap this down a little bit. I cut this section off. I just haven't cleaned it up yet with a grinder. So I haven't touched this side yet with a grinder. Of course, I get rid of the stop plate. This stop plate for the stock arm or whatever, it comes into play with the rubber stop on the QA1 arm. So then this is what stops when you're trying to adjust the spring up more and get the car to come up. The upper control arm is locked on here, especially if you're not using a Pro Touring arm. But then if you do use the Pro Touring arm, which is the longer ball joint, that bump stop will hit on here and stop you from getting any more height. So that could be another thing with these other Chevys that I see that everybody's lifting, and then you see the front's not right. Cut this stop off. I open the frames. That's what I've always done. That's my signature. You know, if you get into a car accident with these old big body cars, you'd rather have it all fold and save you, you know, wrinkle points. The car crushes easier, and then you absorb the hit instead of it being all solid. Look at all the new cars. New cars are made to wrinkle spots, crush points, shit like that. But anyways, you don't plan on getting into an accident anyways. But I opened that up so you can see all that. You see how I cut the stop off. I filed this just a little bit, but I still haven't touched the top part yet. So I'll probably trim this and then roll this down. But like I said, I plan on putting the piece. This one sucks because it was wrinkled. But as you can see how much of it I would use, you know, it's gonna be cut off. You see where the frame is, it's gonna be cut off through there. So I can roll it a little bit, fix it a little bit. And just go through, clean this up, flex this back, and then just tack, and maybe fully weld it so it hides this. And that's just more to where it's gonna look like stock. So when people walk up on it and stuff, oh man, no frame notch? Oh, hell yeah, oh, this, that. No, it's notched. What do you mean? I can't see. Exactly. Got that up. All right, I'm gonna get back to it. Get right back. Yo, bat it up, bat it up. All right. Frame notching. So this side, as you can see, 3/16 plate. The other side I went over and I left this behind it, which took a lot longer to weld and grind and fit and all that. This side, bent this piece in, had that piece cut out, bent it in, whatever. When I got all that moved back, I set this piece in, tacked it in, curved it, whatever. Then I put this piece on, tagged it to the top. Then I cut this open and flexed this piece back out so it lined back up with this. So same over here. Well, basically what's gonna happen here is when I run the weld down here, then when I go to shape it, it's gonna take it's a lot less time than what I did to the other side. So the other side's already fitted, already ground. Took me hours to do it. But this, hold on, my battery. All right, so this side, like I said, when I put that plate, I put it over it. And then I had to fill and fill and fill. Then I had to grind and grind. This side was, remember how it was bent out real bad. So I was tapping it in, but there was other marks that were there too. So I didn't fix it perfect. Still got dents here, dents there. This frame's dented here, and on the other side dented here, so something happened to this fucking thing. But anyways, this one took a lot of time, and then I still got pit holes in there, but when I paint it, so same thing up here. I put the 3/16 plate over it, but then I ended up having to fill and fill and fill and fill and fill. So I was using a lot more welding wire, a lot more gas, a lot more time, grinding discs. I mean, look at the mouth. And then I've done this so many times that how did I not remember? And that's exactly how I do the frame tails on G-bodies. Slit it, roll it in, put the patch piece inside there, cut on the outside edges. So that way it levels out, you know, flushes out this piece to this piece. So, you know, I know the bottom I won't fill. I'll put a piece in here, a piece of scrap or something, lay it in there, gap it so that way I can go around it. But yeah, so a lot of fillage right here. A lot of people don't come as far forward as I come because I know that when the wheel turns, how it gets into the mount area. And like I said, no sense in square notching right here where there's a step, because then you got the corner and then the tire turns and digs into the tire. Then you can adjust the steering styles, but then it's like, what's the point of doing the frame notch if you gotta adjust the steering styles? You want it to just stop on its own, you know, full turn, as far as the gearbox can go, as far as the spindle, as far as the wheel. I want all that. So anyways, been a couple days on this shit, making messes. Only a few hours a day. But again, with what I'm working with, 3/16 plate by 3 foot by 4 foot, whatever you buy at the hardware store, buy all this at the hardware store. This is a 180 welder. Like, yeah, it's 220, but shit, even a what is the one underneath this one? Is a 140, which is a 110 welder. You can get away with being at home, in the house garage, jack this thing up, put some jack stands underneath it, make sure it's, you know, braced, whatever. And you could cut this out yourself. And then you see the pieces. Let's see, this is the top piece of how far. And this is the bottom piece. And you know, you just make you some marks. That hole is a good mark. Where's this piece still be hot? This is a piece that I cut off. Anyways, that hole is a good mark to measure like the outside of this hole all the way over. So I'm at 3.5 from like 5.5. So 2 inches frame notch. But like I said, when I'm done, yes, it does take a little bit longer to do. But you want, when you pull up and people get to looking and they see inside the wheel well, they're like, damn, you're not frame notched? Be like, no, my shit's frame notched. It just was made to look like it's stock. You know, jagged ass cuts and jagged ass steps. You know, a plate here stepped in, and then this one stepped in and it's almost straight, and then this one stepped in. That shit's horrible. I mean, yeah, you're frame notched, and then it's what you pay. So, plenty of shops out there still doing, well, younger shops, let's say, doing this and doing that, doing notches or whatever. If you guys are only paying a couple $100, hey, that's what you're getting. It's a couple $100 worth of work. So, me, I'm custom suspension and frame fabrication. That's it. That's it. I'm not doing motors. I don't do motors. I'm not gonna tell anybody how their motor was done or this or that. It's got nothing to do with me. I'll do a big block, of course. Interior, I don't do interior. Paint, blah, blah, blah. If you do paint, you should stick to paint. If you do motors, you should stick to motors. I don't know. Whatever. I'm just rambling. But yeah. On another note, this fucking guy next door, as you can see, there's no more weeds through the dirt. This motherfucker yesterday had loads of dirt dropped off, and he spread it over there. Then he comes over here with the machine and he just starts ripping this up and had this whole place dusted out again. All the vehicles up front covered. Then this morning, 7:30, 8 o'clock this morning, the kid's out here on the lawnmower and he's down in that ditch, and then he's just spinning circles on the lawnmower, and you know, the wind is coming south to fucking north, whatever, a little bit of angle this way, and it just I mean, you can see the house is covered. I mean, you probably can't see on this phone because my shit is iPhone and it records excellent, but just dude's still up to bullshit. Like I said, goes a couple days, couple weeks, whatever, quiet, doesn't do nothing, whatever, blah, blah. Then he comes over and just got to do stupid shit. So then today he comes on his gator and he just like swerving back and forth like they do on NASCAR when they heat the tires up. He's swerving back and forth. Then he goes into the box, opens it up, looks in there, closes it, gets back on there, does circles, driving by and smirking, throwing dust everywhere, making whatever. So basically what I'm saying is the neighbor's still a fucking prick, still a piece of shit, a waste of fucking air. Mark ass Chauncey, that's what he is. Bet that up, Marcus. Mark ass. Alright, y'all, I'm working on this. I'm gonna get it done and get it all painted. That's what he probably thinks, because he watching the videos, and when he comes over here to look and see what I'm doing as he drives by, probably thinks I'm getting ready to paint, and then he starts making dust because he wants to get the dust all in the fucking paint. So he purposely doing shit, taunting, harassing, stalking. Probably, you know, wants to see my pee-pee. I ain't gave him that satisfaction yet on his cameras. Alright, y'all, I'm gonna get back to this. Bet it up. Here we go. Got this side first welded in when I was finishing it off, polishing it up, and then I had to put some more weld in. Not as much as the other side. So now I gotta file that back down. But this side had dents. You can see, I think that's fucking still hot. But anyway, you can see this side had dents in it too. Look at my first, look at the beginning of the video, you can see there's dents in it, whatever. It's not gonna be perfect. Like I said, if I had an English wheel and this and that and material, and I could sit there and roll it out and this and that and put a piece in there, or bring pieces, have a plasma cutter. I used to have plasma cutters, I had 2 plasma cutters. Those were taken, borrowed, never returned. But then I can, you know, cut pieces, this and that, whatever. But it still works. This is, I'm showing what you can do at home. The average 9 to 5 guy comes home, chills, kicks it, goes in the house garage after supper, after dinner, and gets to work. So there you go. Anyways, file this off, and I'll be able to paint this front frame. Spray paint. That's it. Spray paint. Yeah, that's where we're at. Still a big ass mess. Lots of grinding discs. Like I said, when that breaks down for the grinding disc, they come out to be about $1.10 a piece. Amazon. I know I've showed it before, but there you go. Glory. 40 grit. This is for the 7/8 arbor. They're a soft stone grinding disc. To buy like a DeWalt grinding disc at like Farm and Fleet or Menards or Home Depot or some shit like that, you're looking at $10 a disc. And they might last, obviously, probably last double of that. But those work good. I've been using those for many years now. They come in 50 or 100. And obviously, when you find them for the 100, you get the better deal. It breaks down to like $1.10 a piece. Basically, I mean, you can get it cheaper than that. Sometimes I think I got 100 of them one time for like $65. And that's Amazon. I got Amazon Prime and all that shit. So then, you know, you save. So, and of course, the cutoff wheels at DeWalt. I get those off Amazon. The Sawzall blades, DeWalt. Get those off of Amazon. Shipped to the door. Shipped to the door. Alright, let me get back to finishing this off. And then get some paint on it. Bed that up. I'll be back. Alright, y'all. I just put the paint on there, so it's on wet. I did a couple fog coats, real light coats. But this is semi-gloss, so once it dries, obviously it's not going to be this glossy. Like I said before, I normally do the satin or the matte black, and the old lady this time ordered semi. So I just had 4 cans. Let's see, I got satin right here. I got satin right here. But this is semi. Let me show you the can. Semi gloss black. This is what I just put on this frame. And I have a run right there. It's not perfect. I'm not perfect. Never said I was perfect. And you know how the shine makes it different angles, and you know, it's not perfectly, you know, this had the dents in it. But that's how this side, you see the outside. Anyways, whatever. Front frame is painted. I cleaned it up the best I could. Got as much big chunks of grease and shit like that off there, but it could probably use a couple more. So what I'll probably do is, since I have, let me think about this. This can is brand new. This one's full of the satin. That's only like a quarter. I gotta order some more, obviously. I thought I had a couple more around here somewhere, but I don't. Oh, let's see. What do I got here? This one is satin. So there's, let's see, this is fusion. That one's not fusion, this one's color. Color Max. So the satin, that's satin. But I should be able to go back over this with the satin so that I can clean up that run. And then I got into this front where it got a little dry, but it should be fine. I'm just tripping. I sprayed that undervance, which is broke anyways, but it just must have had some type of oil on there. Whatever, it's junk. I'll probably take it off. Yeah. Alright, y'all, there's that. I'll let this dry. Then I can start bolting some suspension on it. Suspension. Bet that up. Be right back. What up, what up? Back on down. Alright, I got the lowers in. This one, the snap ring was off the boot, and the boot was off and it was in the package laying there. I don't know why it was off. But these little, damn fly mess with me. These little snap ring spring thingies right here, you just like twist them apart and then you can just roll it and it just slides right back in the groove all the way down if you just flex it just a little bit, separate it. These arms come with 2 different size bolts because box Chevys are either 1/2 inch or 9/16. This car was 9/16, so it takes the bigger bolt, coarse thread, the fatter washers. I put a little grease on there to slide the pieces in. It does come with the other inserts, which are just I already put in the box. So we got the black aluminum inserts with the 1/2 inch hole. That's what's in the package, and then the 2 1/2 inch bolts, fine thread, that would go in there if the car is a 1/2 inch whole car. So I know the back too is 9/16 because I already put those bolts in, and it took the bigger bolts. So Landau, maybe it's by Landau, I don't know, Landau package makes it with the bigger bolts, but I've seen the 4-doors be either or. So then with the 4-doors, I guess, you know, police package, whatever, having a 5.7 in it, a 350 instead of a 305, vice versa. Maybe that has something to do with it. I don't know. But you guys gotta watch that. We're putting them in. So then you have your 1/2 inch bolt for the bottom of the coilover. Nut, the washers for that. These are the extra bolts for the other side. So I'll put these in that pack. I like to save that shit. Damn flies. We do have the Pro Touring, which is a 1 inch longer ball joint shaft. That's what you need for 28s. And when you first set it up, to help you, take off the bump stop. Take that bump stop off. Then get the car all set up. Get it where you want it in height. Then you should be able to put it back in. But it will cause you problems in the air trying to adjust it. Me, I cut the plate off the top, so the rubber ends up touching just a little bit. But if you leave the plate all the way over, it causes problems. So instead of cutting this off, if you're doing the shit at home, this and that, instead of cutting this piece off, you see what I'm saying? Instead of being part of the video, then you can clear more with that. This car, 550 Viking springs, 8225 is the Viking shock number for the front. The QA1 arm is a 1/2 inch bolt right here, 1/2 inch bolt right there. If you use the QA1 shocks, you use this, and that's your 1/2 inch hole right there. But if you use the Vikings, they have the 5/8 hole, so then you got to put a sleeve in there to use it. So I'll show you guys that in a minute. But yeah, lowers are on there. Paint came out way glossier than I wanted it to come out. That's totally dry. This is a day later. So you see how this isn't really that glossy. This is like a semi or a matte, but now that's glossier. So that sucks. Yeah, before I put the arms in, I could have probably put the other paint over it. Just I didn't know if it was going to react, even though it's the same brand. And one of those cans, like I said, is Fusion. The other ones are Color Max or whatever. So I didn't want to take the chance of it fish eyeing. So I left it. I assumed it was going to dry. Whatever. Anyways, put the lower arms in it. Got the upper arm sitting right there. I did have to take the bolts all the way out, so the shoulders did get, the spline shoulders did get ate up. So now I'll take the wire wheel head on the drill, and I'll go in here and I'll clean this up, and then I'll clean up the bolts. There's the bolts. Yeah. See how I like to make messes? I make messes all the time. Anyways, I'll take the head right here, put this in the, see, that's what I'm talking about, the spline shoulder. That's what locks it in. And what happens is, take this all the way out, or if you change to grade 8 bolts or this and that, this will end up flexing. If you can get these brand new, get them brand new. That's your best bet. because this car with the headers and all that shit in it, I couldn't get the arms out, so I ended up having to take these out. The steering shaft, yeah, it could have been taken out to take the bolt out, this and that, but the header was still in the way too. So if you get these new with the new shoulder, it should go in there tight. But what I'm saying is, if you reuse these and you already spun it to take it out, you could end up later on down the road thinking you have it tight, and it will wiggle a little bit and then make the nut loose and then knock the shims out. So be careful of that. I weld them in because the bolt's fine, there's nothing wrong with the bolt. These control arms will never come off the car again unless the car goes to get the frame blasted and powder coated and painted or whatever of the arm. So no matter what, I mean, however they take it apart, if they take it apart, well, they have to take it apart this way. But these arms, the aftermarket arms, have way more clearance than the stock arm. The stock arm is real big, flopped over, you know. So it's easy to, you can get these right off. That's what I'm saying. So you ain't gotta worry about that shit. I know somebody be like, what do you mean you welded in? You're not supposed to weld it in. Garbage can lid from the wind just banged down there. It sounded like a gunshot. Anyways, this guy over here, he needs help. Like, to all my heavy equipment operators, this guy needs help because now he just went through and graded this out again. And as you can see, up, down, up, down, up, down. But it's not why he's doing it. He's doing it to stir up the dust. And you can see how fine it is. It's so piled up. So he drove through here with his gator earlier and just back and forth like NASCAR. He did it again, back, forth, round, back, just, and smirking and shit. I wasn't out here then, but I could see it. So all the cars in front, the Mustang's out there, it's dirty. The Tahoe's out there, it's dirty. Look at the house. You can see the, well, like, what I'm seeing from my eye, the house is a dust coated, which on the camera looks blue, which, I mean, it is blue, but you can kind of see right there, it's all dirt. So naturally the wind, every day that the wind blows out of the south, so that's south, obviously north, east, whenever the wind blows this way, he's over here fucking around, stirring up the dust and dirt. He's in the machine. He might be going back now, but I mean, he just has no clue what he's doing at all, and he's just purposely over here fucking with me. It's fucking crazy, man. 7 o'clock in the morning, out in front of my house taking pictures. Stops dead in the street and takes pictures of the front of my house. It's crazy. Calls code enforcement, all that shit. Anyways. Alright, y'all. I got the lowers in. Let me get these uppers in. I got the old caliper sitting there. So I did think that this was a D52 style caliper going on here. Well, the two boxes, the other box that was marked Willwood, was the actual Willwood box. It had the 6-piston red caliper, cut the spindle, drill and tab the holes, put it on with, you know, the hub, the aluminum hub, the bearings, all that shit. So that kit is there, but the original box that I opened up was the D52 calipers. And then he was saying that that was a rear kit, but that's really too big to be used on the back. But anyways, I don't want to put that on a 9-inch. I want the real shit. So we turned around and got the right 9-inch kit, like the kit we just put on the Cutlass for the back. So we got that coming, and the rear end upper bushings. This dude, look, see all the dirt? 100%. See that? Doing it on purpose. Look at how much dirt is flying over here. So he just keeps going back, forth, back, forth, back, forth, back, forth. So like if I'm not out here, he doesn't do it. But once I come out here, open the garage door, he does it. I don't want to get his face on camera because he's a fucking crybaby. But anyways, all the dirt coming over here. Yesterday when I painted this, you know, I made sure he was done fucking around for the day. Yeah, look at that. Look at that. On purpose. 100% on purpose. It's crazy to think. This dude wakes up in the morning thinking about me, goes to bed thinking about me, looks at the weather channel, whether on his phone, whatever, to see if the wind is blowing this way, just so he can come over here and fuck with me. This is the very back side of his property. His actual driveway to his house is all the way over there. So in the morning, he purposely drives all the way over here and fucking stares over here, taking pictures, shit like that. Yesterday, I was sitting on the chair right here, sitting my fat ass down, going through my phone, and this dude flew through here with the work truck on the dirt and then cut that way because he had his drainage fucking culvert piece laying where that wood is laying right there. And he was looking over, then he broke his neck to look because I had the Trailblazer parked right here and the tires were on the grass, and code enforcement, you know, you can't park on the grass, blah, blah. So I'm telling you, this dude is just, it's fucking hilarious. And then he works for a company and he uses a company vehicle, and this one's a brand new company vehicle, and he romps through here with it, just beating on their shit. So I really don't know what to say. This dude is seriously fucking mental. Very fucking mental. He's not just working on his property, he's just doing this over and over. This has been going on for a year now. A year he's been doing this shit. And since March, since the end of March, when he trespassed me because I cut the fucking limbs off the front tree, blah, blah, whatever, fuck, he started doing this shit over and over and over and over and over. And then he went and he put fucking grass seed. He had this motherfucker real level. I mean, he did have at one point real level. He fucking put grass seed all through that shit. And now he's over there grading out again. Like, now where's your grass seed? You know, he's just, I'm telling you, dude, he's a fucking idiot. Straight up fucking Mark ass Chauncey. How you like that one, buddy? Like I said, he'd be watching. How you like that one, buddy? Huh? Huh, neighbor? How's it going, neighbor? I like to tell everybody I'm a gang member and I've been to prison and I don't belong out here. All that dumb shit. All my customers are street pharmacists. That's what he told the judge. Fucking Mark ass motherfucker. Anyways, he comes back over here to make some more. Anyways, alright, y'all. I got the lowers on there. Let me get these uppers on here. And then I'll get the coilovers on. I'll be back. Chauncey. Alright. Hopefully y'all will be able to hear me over this asshole behind me. Here is the front shock, which is an A225, which is Viking number for box Chevys, B-body. Got the hardware here. This you would use if you're using a stock control arm or a control arm that you bolt the lower part of the coilover into. So you got the big snap rings right here that puts this bushing, spherical bushing, inside there. Now, this is a 5/8 bolt hole, and that's what I was talking about. I thought I had, there's the bearing plates right there. There's the bearing plate number, Viking. Thrust bearings. You have to have these in the front. And the way that it goes, the bearing plate goes in between the two plates. I'll add the stock shim that comes with the coilover right there, but this bottom piece goes on with the bevel edge up, so it separates this for the wrenches when you tighten it. These go in with the snap rings. You gotta have the snap ring tools. You got the front spring rate. This dude seriously just look, just going back, forth, and just stirring up fucking dust, all that dust. Just a Mark ass Chauncey. But so I thought I had the full sleeves of these. So these come in the back kit for the coilovers, for the top. So you get 4 of these in the Viking kit, which is basically the same numbers as the 7971-101 instead of 17, so that number is cool. But anyways, it's a whole kit for the back. It's got bolts and all that shit. There's a number for the sleeve that's actually like, I think it's 1.25 inches wide, you know. So anyways, I can use 3 to 4 of these in here. Change it from 5/8 hole. Wants to be a bitch, you're gonna go in. Well, anyway, that goes in there, which changes it from a 5/8 hole to it. There you go. So a 1/2 inch hole. I'll put 3 to 4 of these in there. I have 6 of them sitting right there. 3 to 4 in it on each side. I think it takes 4 altogether. But anyway, you can get the actual sleeve that goes in there. But it's a reducer for 5/8 to 1/2 inch. Boom, it goes in there. Boom. But that way you can put the 1/2 inch bolts in here, and then it goes into the little control arm. Because like I said, the 1/2 inch bolt. I've seen people drill this out and put a 5/8 bolt, and the 1/2 inch bolt was already tight to here with the X head. X head, it's already tight. So then they drill it out and put a 5/8 bolt in there, and then it looks like shit. But anyway, pay attention, y'all. Yeah, and he's also over here making more noise because he sees me filming. Like, this dude is all up in my business every single fucking day. Yeah. Grading out the stone, causing more dirt and dust. He's a fucking idiot. I know. I'm gonna get the fence up. I've just been holding off because see how much more he can cry and whine and call code enforcement and talk shit. But yeah, so the snap ring pliers, boom, to put the snap rings in, to put the bushing in, boom, put that shit together. You get the bushings right here and the washers right there to put this in the frame. It's a 550 spring, like I said, 550 spring. These will probably be turned up. I think the gap that I normally get with a 28 on the box Chevy is I take this lock collar and I put it all the way down. All right, it stops. And I measure from here to here to get my height to match both sides. So if I adjust this up, yes, you do put some anti-seize on here, but you don't kick this whole thing with anti-seize. You get this in the car, get the spring set on there, and you can put the anti-seize around here, but once you start taking the collar up, it'll actually turn. But if you don't have the thrust bearings in there, man, you're gonna have problems. And then it starts cutting these into the threads in there, and it breaks the housing. When it is. Alright, y'all, let me get these together to show you guys that. Set that up. Alright, y'all. Lowers are in, coilovers are in, bearing plates are in there. And like I said, the shock itself comes with a shim. And the bearings come with, you know, shim, bearing, shim. So then I put 2 shims on top, the one that originally comes, and that gives you a little more height, if you will, whatever. So that's in there, that's in there. Last thing, or when you tighten these up after you get the spindles and everything on under control, I'm talking about, you tighten these up, you don't smash this all the way down. These get tightened up snug, not smashed down. Yeah. Alright. Yeah, I haven't taken these off yet. That's after I get the spindles. They're sitting right there. I gotta get those cleaned up. I gotta get the pressure washer out the shed, clean off some dirt on those, pressure wash them, get them painted, and then get them up on here. But I'm gonna get these uppers in here. So I'll be back, y'all. Yeah, the paint, I mean, it stayed shinier than I wanted, but that's fine, whatever. I'm gonna get these uppers in here. I'll be back. All right, y'all. Spindles, cleaned, pressure washed, painted. Now this one is a, what did I say this was? Matte. That's semi, this is matte. So this kind of matches this. I mean, I guess there's a little bit of difference, but whatever. This is what I wanted. Satin, that's what this is, satin. But satin and matte are right there. That's what you want. You don't want, that's semi-gloss. You really don't want that. But whatever. So that's on there. Got all the inner and outer tie rod, center link, idler. I gotta tighten all that stuff up yet. Put the cotter keys in. I position these holes so the cotter key can go front to back. Front to back. So that way the cotter key doesn't go in there and hit into there. 550 springs. I did put some anti-seize on there right now. A little bit so to drag it up. I think I already showed that. But anyways, it'll drag it up. Normally on 28's on a box Chevy, like I said, measuring from the bottom plate to this in between. 2 3/4 to 3 inch gap in between there with a 550 spring. 8225 shock. And you'll be able to sit exactly where you want to sit within reason, so that way you can clear the fender and not tear the fender up. But I still gotta trim this back a little bit, move the screw up, just, you know, clean it up, take this inside edge off. And then my degreed spindles, where I lay the wheel backs on, which shims the upper control arm more towards the back. Sport steering. Waiting for somebody to say something about them brake hoses. Waiting on the brake line kit, that's the last thing. Got the brake kit. Got the front all together. You guys gotta be careful with this. The dish, see how the dish of the centerpiece, that's inwards. You gotta watch these instructions on this. I see a lot of people out there, they end up putting this disc, ends up being on the outside. Then when they try to put this on the cars, telling you that the spindle is out too far for the caliper, it doesn't clear. But you can watch how you put these together. Like I said, the arrow always goes to the front of this, so that front piece. See how the arrow is? So this is the left side. And there's the other arrow right there, which shows that's the right side. But yeah, put all that together, Loctite is all up in there. Seals on there. I know I pack the bearings. I pack them. Just gotta get that seal in there. A lot of times to get that seal in there. They've been a lot easier nowadays, but man, to get that seal in there sometimes back in the day was a bitch. And then forget to put the bearing in there. But I pack them. I pack them like crazy. Alright y'all, there's that. This is, like I said, 6 piston, 12, was that 12 point something or 13 something? 12, 6 piston, red. That one's saying it is the driver's side because it has an arrow on there too. So, right now, I am gonna cut these spindles. Cut them, drill and tap. Cut them, drill and tap. Get the brakes on here. All right, that's it. Bend it up. I'll be right back. Oh yeah, I got the exhaust all cut off. I'll start doing the frame brace after I get this front together. I'll be back. All right. Got the brakes on there. The pad dragging. I got it shimmed pretty decent. I've had to put 3 and 3 on the back. So, I mean, it's pretty much squared up. A little bit of piston showing over here, but it's tighter on the back pad right now. I don't know why the pad won't push back in. Maybe it's just, oh yeah, it did that time, didn't it? On my broke ass finger. But yeah, that's all on there. Rollers are on there, it's all together. Cotter pins in there. I gotta go through, tighten up these, tighten up the center. My damn battery dying. Tighten up those, put the cotter keys and all that. Yeah. The line kit isn't here yet for these. That's why I haven't taken this off yet, which, oh, that's just paint. So I gotta tighten up the lowers. And then I haven't welded in the uppers yet. But I'll weld that in. I did clean inside there. I'll be able to, you know, weld it in all those corners. They'll never have to come out again. But yeah. All right, y'all, moving right along. Oh, I got the sway bar to put on the front too. I just don't want to put it on there yet and have it in my way for doing the other stuff. B-body, do they offer the big room sway bar where it's narrowed? I'm not sure if I've put one on yet on the Chevy or if they offer the big room. I know the G-bodies all day. Don't know a couple of those. You guys got to be careful with, like, this side of the frame. It likes to build up a lot of debris up in here in years. I see it a lot more on G-bodies. But these two sway bar holes right here, they could strip out easy. So when you're putting it all back together, don't over tighten it. When you take the bolts out, if it's real tight coming out, bring it out a little bit, bring it in a little bit, bring it out a little bit, bring it in a little bit. So it works it, so it cleans the threads off as you bring it out, so you don't strip the hole out. Because stripping the hole out and having to get inside there, I mean, you could weld a plate like drill these bigger, take a plate, weld nuts to the back of it, put the plate on here, and then weld the plate to here, and then you'd be able to bolt the sway bar back on there if you had that problem, or you could tap it bigger and put a bigger bolt in it, or a metric bolt. So be careful with that. The black GN that I did on the 22-inch billet replicas, that one ended up ripping. This bolt ended up gone, and this bolt was pulled down, so it ended up pulling it out of there. I don't remember if the hole was bad to begin with, but they had sent me a picture, and this was a while ago, showing me, you know, that it happened. It's not like I forgot to tighten it or didn't put a bolt in. The shit ripped out. So I don't know what they did to fix it. I didn't hear nothing from the actual owner, so I don't know. But anyways, all right, I'm about to get these back springs and shocks off of here, get that rear end out. So yeah, I'll be back with more of that business. Better that. What up, what up? All right, y'all, check this out. This video is too long, so there's gonna be a part 2, and hopefully I'll have that next few days. I have all this in, but part 2 will come out. Front, the brake lines are on there. Everything tightened up. I got the sway bar right there. I got the steering arms and everything on there. The counter keys. And then I set the gap in between here at 2 and 11/16. So lock collar all the way down and measure in between there. We'll do that for the first time setting it down. This is a LS with aluminum heads. I think the block's aluminum. I'm not sure. I don't know how that goes. 6'2", whatever. But the front of the car should sit good right there. If I gotta take it down a little bit, I'll take it down a little bit. But got these spring pockets cut out, not cleaned up yet. Slowly cleaning up underneath here. We have the trick chassis frame brace kit right here with the cross member. Trans cross member brackets. Make it mobile. Silver drop boxes. A weld on for the back of it. Boom, boom. Double adjustable uppers. Drive shaft loop, but I might put it in. I don't think it needs it. Aluminum coilover brackets. Bolts. But yeah, that's where we're at. So stay tuned for part 2, y'all. And I started with the spray foam insulation stuff. This kit that I got that I've been talking about forever. Gun. The can goes in there upright. You got tips for each one, so you get a new tip every time. I only use 2 cans already. So got 10 cans left. My main thing is I'm gonna go all the way around the top to seal it up. But anyways, I'm just blah 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 blah. It's a learning curve, like a motherfucker trying to spray it and being in a tight area. So I don't know, it'll work. The more the better. So this I just sprayed. That one was sprayed an hour or so ago, but I went back over it. But I mean, you know, these walls are thick. So if I do frame it later on. Well, my main thing is this year to have that whole top all the way around. All the way around. That keeps it heating here. And I want it right here on that back side, so that way when it heats right here, it's heating. That fan goes back there and it blows the heat off of there. So, and then the furnace over there still works. Turn it on earlier, let it run for a little bit. But the day's like 60-something degrees in here. Anyways, the little bit is all gonna help. And I gotta do little bits at a time. So, all right, y'all. Chevy, Landau, bye Chevy. and getting that work.